Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. As always, we are powered by CLNS Media and LakersNation.com, your home for everything Lakers. Well, it's August. It's the dog days of summer. We are dying for basketball. I feel like I'm starving for some NBA basketball. The FIBA World Cup is coming up just right around the corner. Hoping Kyle Kuzma will get a spot there. Still plenty going on in the world of the Los Angeles Lakers to discuss. Before we dive into it, first, quick shout out to our sponsor, betonline.ag, your home for online gambling. All you have to do is use the promo code CLNS50 for a 50% welcome bonus. We'll talk a bit more about that later. Joining me today is Denise Jones from Lakers Nation. Denise, how are you doing? Because I am going crazy with no basketball to watch right now. What's up with your world?
Dude, I'm drinking tea. It feels like the time is going by slower than ever. I can't wait for NBA season to be back, especially this time around. I mean, you and I went to Summer League together, and we had a great time there. And I just feel like it was so much excitement there the first couple of days, obviously before some of the injuries took place. But I think Vegas in general is a good time. And now that we're back in our homes, settled, waiting for the season, it just feels like it's almost like never coming. It feels really slow.
It does. It's a crawl during the summer, right? I mean, we try to make things. I try to make things go by faster.
I'm watching movies these days.
You're doing what?
I don't watch movies. I'm watching movies these days.
You're watching movies, and that's how bored of the summer you
That's
are.
how bored I am, man.
Do you follow any other sports though? Like, are you getting ready? Like, I'm trying to get into my fantasy football teams and stuff like that, trying to occupy myself with that, or my struggling fantasy baseball team, and trying to watch baseball games and everything. Is there anything else that you've been using to occupy yourself while we're waiting anxiously for Lakers basketball to come back?
I feel like I'm filling a void with so many things. So like Dodger games are definitely keeping me entertained. LAFC games are keeping me entertained. What else? Yeah, football season being back is exciting, especially with all the changes that happened. You have Odell just playing in a brand new team with the Browns. So there's a lot of exciting things, but nothing as exciting as NBA. So I mean, my alerts are still on a high. And it's definitely keeping me going and excited into the season.
So what we're gonna do, I mean, in order to kind of feed Lakers fans thirst here for Lakers knowledge, is we're gonna go through and I already put out a tweet earlier today advertising this. We're going to go through the mailbag. We're going to bring in a lot of questions from a lot of different fans, and we're going to hear what they have to say, what topics are on their minds.
Man.
Because look, I mean, I've been thinking about Laker stuff, even though it's August, even though we're still a ways away from basketball being played. I know you have too. We're trying to occupy ourselves with other sports, whether it's Galaxy versus LAFC, whether it's Dodgers and Angels and all the other sports teams that are going on. But I want to dive into some more Lakers basketball here. So that's the way we're going to roll with this. We are streaming this live on Sportscaster, so if we get some questions on here as well, we will we'll hop out and we'll take those. But let's jump into this, because you know what? I was telling you this before we even went on the air. I had all these topics that I wanted to discuss today, a lot of different things to get into. And all of the questions touched upon all of them, and all of the big points the fans got. They hit them all in the questions that we've got, which I think just goes to prove my point. Lakers fans are an educated fan base. A lot of people like to give Lakers fans crap for, they're not a knowledgeable fan base. They're crazy, all these sorts of things. Well, crazy maybe, but knowledgeable, yes, absolutely. They know what they're talking about, because we got some great questions to dig into today.
Yeah, Laker fans are very in tune with the conversations that need to be had, that should be held. They're alert on their basketball IQ. We don't get the credit that we deserve, and I feel like platforms like this is what Laker fans thrive on. So I think you do an amazing job when it comes to just like picking out these questions and really scheduling a good run of show. Trevor, I think I'm giving you the credit, man. You're a great podcaster.
Hey,
you're right. I saw the question. They look great, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm giving credit to the Lakers fans, and you're giving credit to me. And now
I'm giving credit to both.
Let's throw credit to everybody at this point.
Give me some credit, man.
Oh yeah. I'm including you in that. You absolutely deserve credit here. I thought I was looking at the different people we could bring on for this show, and I'm like, okay, I want to take questions from the fans who is it that's going to be able to really relate with Lakers fans the most? I'm like, oh, it's Denise. I mean, just seeing
Easy
the way that
call.
you interacted with all the fans in Las Vegas, I'm like, okay, it's got to be her.
Dude,
So,
we
yeah,
both
let's
killed
do
that.
this.
Let's do it.
So the first question I'm going to dive into, this was the way I was going to lead off the show anyway, so it was great that I got this one right off the bat. At Choo 211-27414, throwing in lots of numbers there. But what do you think of the camp LeBron is hosting in Las Vegas? So we know Brad Turner of the LA Times reporting that LeBron James is hosting a sort of training camp, really, before Lakers training camp starts in Las Vegas. The players are going to be staying at the Wynn Hotel. They're all paying for themselves to go meet up. Every player is going, and they are going to start their training camp early without the coaching staff. Denise, what do you think about this? Because personally, I'm thrilled.
I'm freaking excited, yo. When I saw this news, I like that LeBron is really approaching this next season like it's a reckoning. Like it's like, and he has to. You know, they have no excuse for not advancing the furthest that they have in the last couple of years. I mean, we have great players on the squad. We have the shooters this time that we really need to win. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I like that he's focused and he's keeping the guys focused. He's keeping them humble. They're all, the fact that they're all paying for their own stay shows that this is a team that's united. This is a team that's motivated, that's walking in together into this new season. None of this like, oh, there's different personalities, different egos. Like, how are they going to be able to build together? No, this is one team that's coming together and all for a common goal. So I like this almost can't not win mentality.
Yeah, I mean, look, they understand what's at stake here, right? They get that this is going to be a make or break season for a lot of these guys. This is their opportunity to prove that they are the players that they've been saying they are for so long. I mean, look, when you've got LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you have a spotlight on you on a nightly basis. This Danny Green just won a championship, so maybe not him, but yeah,
exactly.
I mean, Boogie Cousins, this is his bounce back season. You've got guys like, of course, JaVale McGee, we know very, very well, but also players like Quinn Cook. Right, Quinn Cook, this is his chance to shine as well. Alex Caruso, he could even end up being a starter, which is a question we'll talk about in a little bit. Not just the stars on this team, but the other guys have an opportunity to step up, and so their commitment and meeting up this early, that they're going to be locked in and ready to start the season. I think that's going to be really, really important, especially when we look at some other teams in the Western Conference. I mean, look, the Nuggets, the Trailblazers are bringing back very, very similar teams to what they had before. So chemistry is going to be something that's going to be incredibly important to develop quickly.
Right. And I mean, yeah, you hit that on point. Like the team chemistry is something that's always questioned. It's something that's always in doubt. But I feel like this is the perfect thing to really roll out the season as one team and not make it feel like we're investing the first quarter of the season to get good rotations going and get a good mix to see who plays better with who. No, we're fixing those problems early on in this mini camp. And again, I couldn't be more excited.
See, here's why I'm so excited about it, beyond just everything that we've said here. Last season, I was the guy that when they would drop a tough game in January, I was going, hey, this may come back to haunt them as the season goes on. And I had all these people in my mentions saying, what are you talking about? It's January. These games don't even really count. Come back when we're in March, then it's going to matter, or April, then it's going to matter. No, look, the way the Western Conference race is and how tight the West is, all of these games matter. They're all incredibly important, and I think this is a sign that the powers that be, LeBron and the stars on the team, get this. They understand that the games in October are going to matter just as much as the games in February and the games in March, because they all are going to be part of their record, and this Western Conference is so tight, you can't afford to get off to a slow start.
Absolutely not. You can't afford to not have a strong start. And I've also, read that people were saying that, LeBron wants to be the coach and this is like him overstepping. Not at all. I feel like it's very important for, a team to at least have one player that really takes lead and inspires other players to play at the best of their ability. And I feel, and, it's not like every team hosts a mini camp before the season. So this is like work before the work goes in. So it's great, man.
Yeah, it's a positive thing. It's definitely, there's no way to look at this as a negative. It's a great thing. There are other teams that will do this, but not all of them. But there are other teams that'll do this too. It's not like this is totally unheard of, but still, it's a great sign that they are doing this at this stage. I do want to give a quick shout out to at Perp and Gold 23, who asked a very, very similar question about the Vegas mini camp before training camp. So obviously another good topical question there. Let's move on here to one about Carmelo Anthony and Andre Iguodala. I've got at Jax, I got lucky, said, Melo or Iggy, what would you rather have? Wait for seemingly nothing or take what you can get? So do you wait and hope that at some point Andre Iguodala winds up getting free of the Memphis Grizzlies and becomes a free agent? Or do you go right now knowing that you can probably get Carmelo Anthony, and do you bring him in? And you and I were talking a little bit before we started here about Carmelo and how we both feel like he's kind of a little bit underrated at this point as a basketball player, just given all the people that have been piling on him and his skills.
Right. And, and I'll say this. As far as Melo not getting the respect that he deserves, it's something that's so hard to see and really, disheartening because, yes, we know that, Melo had this big ego. We know that he had these high demands. We know that he wasn't playing with the heart that he should have been, and it's ungrateful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to say that he's not a great player, to say that he won't be a good asset to a team, I don't expect a team to build another team around him. I don't think anyone expects that.
No.
I think he's at a point right now where he knows his role, he knows his place, he knows that he is a player that's evolved and now is coming back from a place that no one has ever came back from. And that place is knowing that the league is forcing you to retire. I can't imagine what something like that is like when you're not ready to retire, but the league is making you retire. You have Vince Carter entering his 22nd season. I don't know what it's like to be forced out of a place that you have worked your butt off to be in, and then, have it all stripped away because of poor decisions that you made.
Yeah,
I feel like, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's amazing that you've got Carmelo Anthony, who has this reputation as this selfish player. He's an isolation player. He wants to get his scoring stats up and all that. Now I feel like, at least in my mind, the narrative should be shifting a little bit to where it's almost a sympathetic figure with Carmelo Anthony because of so much being taken away from him at this point, and perhaps you could say unjustly. I mean, I guess, look, you can understand the complaints that maybe the game has passed him by, that his style of basketball just isn't what's played anymore. I mean, look, Greg Monroe isn't in the NBA anymore because his style just doesn't really fit the modern NBA. But for a guy that was a true superstar, and don't get me wrong, I mean, Melo was a superstar. He was one of the best players in the league. Yeah, to be where he's at now, it's a little bit sad. And so I don't think that to answer the question, I don't think the Lakers are the team necessarily to give him that look, because I think they need somebody who can defend threes. I do.
Yeah.
So you would be on the wait for Iggy train
I would
as
be on
well.
the wait for Iggy too.
Okay.
Yeah, I would be. And I was just saying all that just because I didn't want my answer to discredit who and what Melo has worked for. Because one thing to take into account too is that because he's undergone all of this, he has the power that no other player has, and that's to show these new younger players what can happen, help them grow up faster, show them that basketball IQ and the consequences that just come with things when you selfishly play and you take things for granted. So that's a big advantage that he has that another team could take advantage of. I don't think that the Lakers are the team to do that. I feel like waiting for Iggy would be the smarter move. But again, Melo's a great player.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that he is. The Lakers need a guy who can defend wings right now. That's where they're at. They need somebody who's a true small forward. Carmelo Anthony 10 years ago, yeah, that's what he is. Now, I think he's a power forward. I think that's what he is. He's not going to be quick enough to defend threes.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest thing from that interview that he had the other day with Stephen A. Smith, was that he was very aware. His self-awareness was obvious. He was saying, look, I get that people think that I won't be willing to take a back seat. I'm here telling you that I will. I'm telling you I'm okay with coming off the bench. I'm okay with changing my role and all of that. And that was a concern for teams. They were worried that, hey, if we go sign Carmelo Anthony and he's not getting 15 shots a night because we're trying to get these young players going, or we're trying to do something else, then he's going to sulk and he's going to be a distraction and it's going to be a problem. Right. And there's Melo going on national TV and saying, no, that's not the case. I've changed my ways. I'm ready to buy into a system and be a team guy. And so I hope he
He's
does get another
apologetic.
shot. Yeah,
Right.
he really is.
Yeah.
I hope he gets a
I
shot
love
somewhere.
this new Melo. Yeah, man. I love this new Melo. And I'm really excited to see him play this season. I hope it's something that ends up happening.
So let me ask you this then. Let's flip this around a little bit. Let's say something happens and Andre Iguodala either winds up, the Memphis Grizzlies say, period, we're not letting him out of his contract. He's staying here. We will not trade him. Or he gets traded somewhere else and he's going to stay in that location. He gets traded to some other team. So he's off the board. Do you then sign Carmelo Anthony, or would you rather keep the open roster spot?
Well, it's a year down.
Yeah, I mean you'd be looking at the benefit of the open roster spot is you could, if somebody else gets bought out later in the year, you could fill it with whatever player gets. I mean, Tyson Chandler got bought out last season. The Lakers grabbed him.
Right, and this is just assuming that we don't see Melo play at the best that we've seen him play in what feels like a very long period of time. So let's assume that it's tough, man. You know what? And I know I'm gonna get a lot of backlash from this, but I think someone needs to be in Melo's corner. So let's just say if we can't get Iggy, let's give Melo a shot.
You would do it?
I would do it.
You bring him in. Okay.
I would do it. Why not?
I get it. I'm more on the side of I'll take the open roster spot because I think somebody's going to get bought out, but I totally get where you're coming from, and I'm more rooting for that side of the argument.
Your heart is telling you Melo.
It is,
but your mind is like open roster spot.
Yeah, when I look at it on the basketball court, I'm like, I don't know if they need what he brings. Okay, when they've got Kyle Kuzma, when they've got Jared Dudley, all doing those things at the power forward spot. But yeah, at the same time, I really do empathize with Carmelo Anthony at this point.
Exactly, and this is assuming that Melo hasn't only evolved into a power forward. This is assuming that he's also, because the Lakers are a great team to experiment with when it comes to just like rotating positions. We saw Kuzma play the 5. Who's to say that we can't train Melo to play for? I mean, I don't know. A 1.
Point Melo. We've seen Olympic Melo. We've seen Hoodie Melo. Now we're gonna throw out Point Melo.
At this point, I'm throwing these like fantasy situations because if Melo coming to the Lakers is such a small possibility, again, mind over heart. But if for a second I can speak with my heart, I'd say I'd give Melo a shot if we can't get Iggy. And if it ends up coming back and biting us in the butt,
1 year deal, right? 1 year deal. You can wash your hands of them whenever. Yeah, no risk. Okay, let's get into this. Is an interesting one here. So it's Justin at J Loke said, do you think LeBron is still capable of having an MVP season or be the MVP, or will he let AD be that guy with the Lakers? So essentially, is LeBron going to be like MVP level LeBron that we saw like with the Cleveland Cavaliers, where he just takes over and runs the whole show? Or is he going to be willing to take more of a back seat and say, hey, look, I'm turning 35, 26-year-old Anthony Davis, this is your time to shine. I'm going to spend some time setting you up so you can look good. What LeBron do you think we're going to see this season?
I think we're going to see LeBron take a back seat.
Yeah?
I think we're going to see LeBron. Yeah, because we're seeing a LeBron that is just completely evolved from the player that he's been since he played with the Cavs. Like, this is a big brother to a lot of these guys. And I think with Anthony Davis, he's finally found, the perfect teammate, the perfect little brother that complements his game, and vice versa, where he can complement where AD can complement his game as well. I think that in AD, the fact that, and you could take this all the way back just to hidden clues where we saw LeBron hand off his number. We saw LeBron sacrifice a legacy that he's created just so that AD can have his moment. So I feel like this is going to be the year where we see LeBron take the backseat and become just a much better team player that we've seen before, but I don't even think we've seen him play at this capability.
So I agree with what you're saying. I agree with this idea that LeBron's probably going to take more of a back seat this season, that it's going to be, that him giving Anthony Davis his number, or trying to anyway, until Nike kind of said, nope, sorry, no fun for you this season. But I think next season that's going to happen. Okay, but until Nike squashed that, right, he was going to give him 23. So I get the argument that LeBron's going to take a back seat. The rumors were that that was even part of the pitch to Kawhi Leonard, was LeBron saying, look, I'm going to set you guys up. It's going to be my job to make you guys look good. I'm going to be playing more the Magic Johnson type role because that's where I'm at, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to throw this in. Then David Griffin went and opened his mouth. And he said some things. He said some things about LeBron and his will to win, and how he doesn't think it's the same anymore since he won that championship in Cleveland with the Cavaliers. And I have to wonder, did he just poke the bear? I mean, did he just wake up a dormant LeBron James? Are we suddenly going to see, well, to go back to World War II, has he awoken the sleeping giant here? Is that what's going on? And I wonder, are we going to see a pissed off LeBron James? Because if so, I mean, bring it. Like, I want to see all of that. I want to see that fired up LeBron James. I do think you're right. I think ultimately, if anybody's going to win MVP, it's going to be more likely to be Anthony Davis at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't go around questioning LeBron James and his will to win. That's for sure.
1000%. But I don't think LeBron is seeing this as like an individual win that he needs for his legacy. Just based on everything that he's done off the court during this off season, like, he's acting in the most unselfish manner that we've ever seen him act before. He's been more vocal than ever, and that's already knowing that he's been such a vocal guy when it comes to just like political issues. Anything that his heart is fired by is something that he's very vocal about. Also, something to keep in mind is these two, both AD and LeBron, have crossed paths at a very interesting point in their careers, because LeBron didn't make the playoffs this year, and everyone was talking about you heard people saying, like, we expected you to do this in your first year in LA. Like, this is his first time he didn't make the playoffs. Is he gonna end his 4 years with LA early? Like, we heard everything that came with it. AD didn't make the playoffs either. Okay, so they both were humbled in a season, and both kind of move in the same frequency, and both have a common goal. I don't think that LeBron is listening to. He's getting fired up with what people are saying, but I don't think he's taking it as like, I have to do this on my own. I think now more than ever, he has the tools in his toolbox to get the championship that he needs, or at least like move farther in the playoffs than we've seen, the Lakers in the last couple of years. So I think now it's more about not necessarily how strong he can beat this giant, but more so what army he can put together to help him like win the war.
Yeah, and in that sense, the Lakers have put together a heck of an army with LeBron James. I mean, you've got another star in Anthony Davis. You've got a guy who could get back to maybe an all-star level if he gets to his peak here with DeMarcus Cousins, and then you've got them surrounded by shooters. And I mean, that's what LeBron James teams have looked like in the past. That's how they found success. So you got to be optimistic about what he can bring this season. Let's dive into a few more questions here. But first, again, quick shout out to our sponsor, Bet Online. So baseball season's in full swing right now. Placing a wager on baseball has never been easier with all the best odds at betonline.ag. This week, I'm watching the Dodgers take on the Cardinals. Nice little walk-off hit today. But wait, can you believe the NFL preseason is underway? To celebrate another season kickoff, betonline.ag and CLNS Media are giving you a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Head over to betonline.ag or use your mobile device to join today and use the promo code CLNS50 to receive your welcome bonus. Don't sit on the sidelines this football season. Get into all the action with betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. Please see BetOnline's general rules for additional terms and conditions. A minimum deposit of $55 is required to qualify for the bonus. So let's move on here to our next question, because, again, we got some great ones here. You know what? I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go to the one. I mentioned this before. There's one Clipper fan. Probably must be the only Clipper fan, right? There's not that many of them. One Clipper fan decided to hop in here and throw some shade at us. And this is his comment. I kind of want to get into the Lakers-Clippers rivalry here. Lakers fans, get ready because there's a new sheriff in town. His name happens to be Kawhi Leonard, the best damn player on the planet. The Clippers are all business, no play. Legacies are on the line. It's an NBA championship or bust. Boy, please, you better go ask somebody. Clipper fan hops in our questions here. Denise, what do we make of this?
What?
I don't know. Look,
Miss that, bro. Don't even give him publicity. God bless.
No, I didn't even say that.
Send him a nice prayer. I
mean, look, take care of Vitsa Zubats. Be nice to him. You harm a hair on his head, there's going to be some Lakers fans coming after you. But other than that, I mean, look, this Lakers-Clippers rivalry thing, like, what do you make of it? I don't see it as that big of a rivalry just yet. I think it's exciting, but we're not there.
Dude, I don't see it as a big rivalry as a lot of people are seeing it. I think that right now, Clipper fans are talking with their chest just a tad bit too high.
Right? Yeah.
And the season hasn't even started. That's like, I don't know. That's like telling your friends, like, I'm about to buy these great sneakers, limited edition, I don't know, one of one, and bragging about how great this sneaker is. And then when it comes to like you getting into the raffle to buy the sneaker, you miss your shot and you catch an L. Like, they're setting themselves up so high because of Paul George and Kawhi. Not to discredit how great of players they are, but they're completely forgetting about the rest of the team. They're riding off of two players and being extremely disrespectful, in my opinion.
I mean, this guy's saying championship or bust for the Clippers. Championship or bust, right? Like, if they don't win a championship, the season was a total failure.
He's confident.
I guess. This is that guy at the bar that's about to go hit on the girl that's way out of his league, and everybody's just watching and waiting for the inevitable disaster.
And everyone's like, bro, just sit down. Please. Look, sit down. Just wait for the season. That's it. Just wait for the season.
Right. Wait
for the season.
Put it all together. Look, Lakers fans know all too well that teams that look great on paper don't always translate well on the court. Dwight Howard and Steve Nash. Look, that's just the way the game is played. Sometimes your best laid plans don't work out. There is a scenario where this blows up in the Clippers' faces, where Kawhi Leonard and Paul George leave in 2 years, and the Clippers surrendered a ton of assets for nothing. Their move was a risk. I still like their team a lot. I think that, honestly, if I'm being real, I think that their bench is tremendous. I think it fits very, very well. I think you can argue their bench has more talent and more skill than the Lakers bench does at this point. That's a real argument that you can make. But to walk around like, hey, the Clippers have already done something when nothing has really happened yet. Sure, you can say they stole a star away from the Lakers in Kawhi Leonard, and they got Paul George, and that's exciting, and that's great. But let's back this up before we start just proclaiming them the champions, right? That's not the way this is going to go.
It's just not safe to talk in that way. It's dangerous because, like I said, they're setting themselves up so high, and we know that when people do that and talk a good talk, the follow through isn't all that great. And you know what? I'll give it to them. They, like you said, they do look great. On paper, they look fantastic. This might not be the year for you to talk that talk, kid. Boy, what do you say? Boy,
boy, please, you have better go ask somebody. That's what he finished.
Boy, please, you better go ask somebody. What? He's talking a good game, but you know what? I can appreciate the level of confidence.
We'll see if they can back it up. Paul George had double shoulder surgery. Like, he had surgery on both of his shoulders this summer. I don't think you can just assume that this Clippers team is going to steamroll everybody. Although, I mean, look, credit to them for taking the shot while they can, for seizing the opportunity and for building things the way that they have. They've done a tremendous job. There's no getting around that. But let's not start acting like they've accomplished anything just yet, because that is not the case.
Yeah, let's slow your roll. You know, you're just getting a stadium. Things are just coming together. Okay?
And
take it easy, kid.
Denise, let's get into this here, because I think this is
Sure.
fascinating. We look at the Southern California teams, right? You look at the Angels are in some ways seen as like the little brother to the Dodgers, although there's certainly a lot of Angels fans, but there's more Dodgers fans, right?
Yeah.
You look at you've got
They are the little brothers.
yeah, the Chargers aren't anywhere near the popularity of the Rams. In fact, you can say the Raiders are more
Right.
popular than the Chargers, certainly.
I agree.
It's the same way. Like you've got the Los Angeles Kings and the
Galaxy,
Ducks, but
LFC over Galaxy, yeah.
but that's the thing, right? That's the one. LAFC and Galaxy is this thing that's become a real rivalry with two pretty evenly matched teams. What is the difference in that rivalry? Because you're LAFC, I'm LA Galaxy. What has made that so amazing? Because that rivalry has been incredible. It's been a ton of fun to watch. And can you see that potentially being replicated with Lakers versus Clippers now that the Clippers have a couple of stars?
Well, I'll say this. One, I'm sorry that you are a Galaxy fan.
Since
I had no idea.
'96.
Had I known, I wouldn't have subscribed to this podcast. I would have actually, you know what? Let's no, but yes, I do see it panning out this way. I feel like the reason that LAFC and Galaxy have the high energy with their rivalry, and it's one of those things that people look forward to within a city. It's exciting. It's thrilling. It's my favorite day of the week when they play against each other. Part of it comes with the way that they've invested in their fans. You being a loyal fan of the Galaxy, which again, heartbreaking. You know what it is to go to these games and sit in the fan section. You feel that like you're a part of the community.
Right.
And sometimes, at a Laker Clipper game, because the Lakers have such a hardcore fan base, and the Clippers for a long time had to, ride the backseat. They didn't get the same recognition. Same as like, the older sibling and the younger sibling. Like the older sibling is, the example, the praised one, and the younger sibling kind of gets like the leftovers. And not to say that the Clippers get the leftovers, but they just haven't earned their stripes just yet. So it's a little difficult for them to be in the conversations of Lakers and Clippers. But now that they're investing in their team in the way that they are, in the way that they did this season, I think it's going to be a healthy rivalry for LA. I think if they invest in their fans the same way that I feel like the Lakers have in the past, then there's a good opportunity for the Laker-Clipper rivalry to be just as great and as exciting as the LAFC and Galaxy rivalry, because for a long time it was unmatched.
Right. I just don't think that the size of the Clippers fan base is anywhere near the Galaxy, or the Lakers. Whereas I feel like the Galaxy and LAFC have, I don't know the exact numbers, but it feels like their fan bases are pretty similar in size, even though the Galaxy have been around for so long. It feels like there are fairly similar sized fan bases going on there. You've got kind of two even powers. I don't know what it's going to take for the Lakers and Clippers to ever reach that kind of level. I think there's going to be that kind of intensity.
It's a good start.
Yeah, but they're off to definitely a good start. And let me clear this up. I'm not one of those Galaxy fans that just like hates LAFC. I kind of like, they're the team I root for whenever they're not playing the Galaxy. Like I like that, man. I like LAFC.
I never root for Galaxy.
When I was in like my club soccer days as a teenager, that was when the Galaxy got their start.
Yeah.
And they were literally a mile away from my house. They came by there. They were at the training ground there. So I've got actually on my wall, if I were to pan the camera over right there, I've got a poster with Mauricio Cienfuegos and Kobe Jones' signature from the Galaxy's inaugural season. And like, so they captured me very, very early when I was a kid, because I was like, man, I'm playing this sport and now I've got a professional team like right here playing the same thing I play and everything. So I became enamored with that. And I wonder, as kids are growing up now in Southern California, could they become more attracted to the Clippers, to a Clippers team with Kawhi and Paul George? Are they going to start stealing fans away from the Lakers? Is that a concern of yours at all?
No, I don't think that they're going to be stealing fans away. I think it's interesting because when you mentioned Kobe Jones and the legacy that was left behind, or the legacy that Galaxy has, I did watch some games. The only reason I subscribed to being an LAFC fan, and they're just now in their second season, is only because of the tired nights and the tired seasons I had with Galaxy constantly disappointing
Yeah.
It
Those
was
last
hard
5 years were tough.
Yeah, yeah. It was hard to root for. It was hard to watch. Um, and a lot of it comes with just like front office and the decisions that were made, or lack of. But I do think that I'm not afraid, like I said, that of Laker fans, you know, becoming Clipper fans. I don't see that happening. In fact, I actually see more fans subscribing to the Clipper culture from outside of the city just because.
Yep. That's a
I
great
see
point.
that happening a lot more. And frankly, it's only because of the people that strongly, passionately dislike the Lakers. They dislike champions, they dislike winners. That's who I see becoming a Clipper fan. And that's fine. It actually adds, a more exciting element to the season.
That's it exactly. That's 100% agree with you on that. Could not agree more. We're going to see that. That's going to be coming in. So the Lakers fans listening right now, understand that you're going to get fans from other teams, fans of, say, the Celtics, fans of other teams that see the Lakers as a rival, the Portland Trailblazers, whoever, right? That are going to sort of support the Clippers as kind of their second team and say, oh, we can't wait to see the Clippers do well. Oh, we hope the Clippers beat the Lakers. All these sorts of things. They're going to be on that bandwagon just because they want to stick it to the Lakers. It's not that they're Clippers fans.
Literally.
It's that they want to see the Lakers fail. And so I think there is going to be that dynamic out there, and it's something to watch for. How many of the newer Clipper fans are actually Clippers fans and not just Lakers haters in disguise?
We're going to see the same thing that happened with the Warriors, which is every fan almost becoming a Warrior fan out of nowhere. And you know what? It was so excessive and so overwhelming that even diehard Warrior fans were almost feeling like they had to close the gates to their fan club because it was becoming too excessive. Yeah. These fans that were becoming Warrior fans were just becoming Warrior fans to hate on these other teams. That's frustrating, even, as a fan of your team. I think that's what's going to happen to the Clippers. And maybe they'll be a little more welcoming because they don't have as large of a fan base as the Lakers, I'm sorry. Who knows? But I don't see, again, a Laker fan subscribing to the Clipper culture just because it's in LA.
And I like to use the word culture there because, look, the Lakers are definitely a cultural thing in Southern California and really around the world. If you look at the Lakers fan base, I mean, it is something that is generational. It's something that you grow up with. I mean, my earliest memories of watching the Lakers game when I was 3 or something like that. The first sporting event I ever went to was a Lakers game. It's something that just doesn't leave you. So yeah, I don't think LA is becoming a Clippers town anytime soon. But still, it's going to be kind of fun seeing the two squads go after each other. I guess we should move on here to this. I thought this was it's a simple question, but it's an interesting one. I had a tough time coming up with an answer. At the Daniel 1999, most underrated move you think the Lakers made this offseason? So the most underrated move. I mean, we all look at, I have to say, like DeMarcus Cousins, that's not going to wind up being an underrated move. We can't go there. Danny Green, no. So what do we look at as an underrated move that the Lakers have made this summer?
It's a good question. Quinn Cook, maybe?
That's where I was going to go. That was the one I thought of.
But
maybe.
Even then,
and it's only because it was so close to it. Like, it was the night of the Kawhi trade that the Quinn Cook news broke. Right, it was like midnight or 12:30 or something when Quinn Cook news broke. But then by 9 or 10 the next morning, the DeMarcus Cousins news broke, and then everybody was on that.
Right.
And so it's only because maybe he got overshadowed a little bit by DeMarcus Cousins that I kind of lean Quinn Cook, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but even then, the only reason I'm so hesitant on calling Quinn Cook an underrated move is because we know the impact that he can have on the team. So he's still getting the love and the respect and the credit that he deserves from Laker fans. So tough. But I guess just because of the timing of when he signed, sure, you don't hear his name come up on conversations as much as it should be. But to call it underrated might be a bit extreme for me. I would just say he was the last one to get picked. I don't know if it was an underrated move.
Yeah. And actually, here, let me throw one out here. At MCMZ12 on our Sportscaster account here, threw out the name Avery Bradley. That may be a good one. Maybe I should have gone with that. I think
Yeah, yeah,
that's a good point there that he's got.
it's a good one.
Avery Bradley. I mean, people were getting excited because they remember him a little bit with the Celtics, but been been pretty tough the last few years when he was with the Clippers. So he's kind of got this sort of negative reputation around the league right now, as
Right.
if he's still that player that he was with the Clippers. And my buddy Chris Geeter McGee from Spectrum Sportsnet reported that he's down 40 pounds. This guy's lost 40
Yeah,
pounds compared to last season. Like, he could very well wind up being the underrated player that we see this year.
I agree 100%. I had no idea it was 40 pounds. I knew he lost weight. I had no
He's
idea that
six
he lost
two.
40
He's
pounds.
6'2" and he dropped 40 pounds. Like, I mean, maybe he was, exaggerating a little bit. Avery Bradley was, but I mean, that takes some serious dedication
And
to drop that kind of weight.
yeah, I'd love to see the before and after picture of it
Hmm.
because he doesn't look like 40, but let's just give Avery Bradley the benefit of the doubt and say that he lost 40 pounds. If that's the case, then not only are we seeing a healthier Avery Bradley, and obviously when he's healthier, he's an amazing defender. He has the experience, a lot of it, but more than anything, because he's so dedicated in keeping his physical shape intact, it just goes to show how much
Hmm.
hard work he's willing to put in this season. And that's something that I can't wait to see pan out on the season.
So there's one other one here at KRob81 said Alex Caruso. I don't know. Like, I don't think he's
As underrated?
underrated. No, I don't think he's
Oh,
underrated. If anything, Lakers fans have been pumping him up, and I'm one of them. So don't get me wrong here. I
yeah,
love
I'm
Alex.
saying.
I love
You
Alex
and me both.
Caruso. But yeah, I don't think he's underrated at this point.
He's not underrated. He actually gets a lot of love from Laker fans. He gets a lot of credit. Some fans when we were in Vegas were even suggesting that he be a starter this season. It just everything that comes with just Alex Caruso, the heart that he has for the game, the basketball IQ that he has. Um, I wouldn't call him an underrated player, but I will say that he is a secret weapon. He's
Yeah.
a great asset to the team.
Yeah, agreed. I was very happy when they brought him back, and let's use that to springboard into this question here. At Tony_B said, who should start at point guard for the Lakers this season? Does Alex Caruso get it? Do you think? I mean, or do we look at, is it Rajon Rondo? Is it Quinn Cook? Avery Bradley? I suppose you could even do KCP if LeBron is really handling the ball on the offensive end. What do you do there?
I'm gonna go with the fans, man. I love going with the fans. I'm gonna go with Alex Caruso
All right.
as a starter. I don't see that being a bad idea. I feel like he'll really own up to the position and take that responsibility seriously. We've
Hmm.
seen the dynamic that he has on the court when he does start and when he leads. So I'm gonna give it to Alex Caruso.
I could see it. I think Avery Bradley has a very real shot because you don't need to have a traditional ball handler out there with LeBron James. But man, we're living in a world where Alex Caruso could very well play his way into a starting role in training camp. Like, this is a guy
Yeah,
who's toiled away in the G League for the past 3 seasons. He's been on two-way
he's the
contracts for
biggest
two
hope.
seasons, and here he is, and he could wind up starting for a Lakers team that has championship aspirations and features LeBron James and Anthony Davis and let's throw in DeMarcus Cousins too. Like, could you imagine Alex Caruso working his way up? Like, if you run the G League, you just have to point to him and be like, that's success right there. That's what you can do if you don't stop working.
Dude, Alex Caruso, I've had this conversation with a bunch of my buddies, is the best success story, the biggest sign of
Hmm.
hope for this, not only the game, not only the city, but just for the culture. I mean, you're talking about a guy who you know what the G League players make.
Yep.
You know everything that they have to do, everything that they sacrifice for what? For a third of not even a third, like a quarter of what some of these NBA players make. And every day he's waking up to have this opportunity to play with a team. And he's not just playing with any team. He's playing with the Lakers and is playing with one of the best Laker teams that we've had in a while. Great rotation. And now have the opportunity to be a starting point guard is it's a dream come true, not for the culture, like I said, for
Right.
the NBA culture, for the city, for the team. I mean, it just goes to show that hard work doesn't go unnoticed.
Given all of that, like it's hard to not root for Alex Caruso. You kind of you want to see him get that opportunity just because of everything he's gone through. And bottom line, who should start? I still like the idea of Avery Bradley because of the defensive potential. If he's healthy, if he's really dropped weight, if he can do all of those things. But again, I am not counting out Alex Caruso. I'm not. I don't think we're at a point where it's okay to count out Alex Caruso because every time anyone has counted him out, he's proved them wrong.
He's counted himself in.
Yep.
And he knows what it is to work with people who are naysayers. He knows what, you're talking about, a fan base hating you, right? And some people can't handle that pressure. Think about your immediate family. Think about your group of friends who are seeing you chase this dream that they can't even see. I can't imagine what that's like. He knows what that's like. So somebody saying, naysayer from far away telling him that he can't do what he's doing right now, I'm sure is worthless to him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a guy who has overcome the odds, and so you gotta root for a guy like that. Let's see. We're gonna do just a couple more here. I've got one more from @ChooChoo with all the numbers. Do you think Kuzma will be selected to Team USA? I'm a yes. I think he's gonna make it because of his versatility. What do you think?
I'm a yes too, but it's so interesting because so many players have already turned down, a lot of commitments.
Right. And that's why. If they hadn't, then he's probably not making it. But given the opportunity now with all these guys out, I think he does.
I think he does. I mean, even with some of these guys, had they said yes, I think he'd still be a great candidate to have on the roster. I think it's something that it's a great experience that helps these players grow, and it's a spot that's earned. It's not really handed to everyone. Not everyone gets invited. Not everyone gets an opportunity to play. So the fact that he's being considered, I think is accurate, and I think it makes sense. I'd be excited to see him.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if Kuzma doesn't make the team, I'm gonna be a lot less excited for the FIBA World Cup. I'll still watch it because I need some basketball. Okay, but if Kuzma doesn't make it, I'll be certainly less excited because I really want to watch and see him play. I want to get another look at his jumper, which he's tweaked a little bit this summer. I can't wait to see what kind of work he has put in. All right, let's finish with this one. We already talked about. Well, do I want to go to Clipper? Well, all right. So @ThunderChick014 actually doesn't ask a question about the Thunder, asks about how well the Lakers match up with the Clippers. Who's the X factor on the Lakers? So we can talk a little bit about the matchup, but I want to focus more in on who we think the X factor is on the Lakers this season. Do you think the Lakers are a good matchup right now for the way the Clippers are constructed?
As far as them being the Lakers, the Clippers being their biggest competitor, or is
no,
it just like
on the floor, like
balance?
when you've got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George versus LeBron and Anthony Davis, then all the pieces around them, whether it's you're looking at DeMarcus Cousins or Patrick Beverley or
right. I think we outweigh them. We do outweigh them, so it is a little unfair. Just with the roster that we have this season, I'm excited to just see how these guys play and the chemistry that they have during this mini camp and during the off season. So no, I don't think it's even. I think we do have the upper hand and the advantage there.
Yeah, I think I like the Clippers' defensive potential. I think the Lakers, it's two totally different teams. The Lakers have the offensive upside. They've got the ability, or I'm sorry, the offensive upside on the interior. They've got the ability to really pound the ball into the paint. You've got DeMarcus Cousins, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. That's tough to stop on the inside. On the flip side, though, you've got three really good perimeter players in Patrick Beverley, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and they also happen to be probably three of the top 5 perimeter defenders in the league. So when you throw those guys at some of the Lakers' perimeter players, the question is, will the Clippers' perimeter play outweigh or beat out the Lakers' interior play? And I think that's going to be the battle, and it's tough to say which way you go. But who's the X factor? I've got a guy in mind that I think is absolutely the X factor, but who do you think is the X factor for this Lakers season? Who is it? Who's kind of the make or break player?
It's kind of tough. I mean, removing LeBron, I would probably say, because so much is already being expected of Anthony Davis, I'd say Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis is the X factor for the season.
Is our X factor.
So you're thinking like him taking it to his game to even another level. Now that he's playing, he's never played with anybody the level of LeBron James.
Right.
So you're saying that's going to allow him to bring his game to a whole new level, and then we're going to see maybe MVP Anthony Davis if that's where we're going here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm saying, and it's also one of those where like, the level of confidence that he's going to be playing, sure, it's one thing to have, the expectations of a team. He did what he could with the Pelicans. And then now being in LA, it's different because he's never, like you said, he's never had a teammate like LeBron. He's never had, somebody compliment his game. Like I mentioned earlier, someone who's rooting for his success, who's right behind him and right next to him. I think we're going to be seeing an Anthony Davis that's amplified and just playing at a completely other level that we've never seen him playing.
Yeah, I do think that Anthony Davis can hit a whole new level of play this season. I'm excited for him. For me, personally, I think the X factor is DeMarcus Cousins. Can he get back to anywhere near? If we get even 85% of DeMarcus Cousins from what he used to be, then that's absolutely, that's a difference maker. That's an all-star caliber player. That's a max contract potentially caliber player. This is a guy who can be incredibly beneficial to a team. So that's my X factor. But my runner-up, I think, would be Kyle Kuzma. Look, I mean, the Lakers didn't get Kawhi. They need somebody to step up and be the third star.
Right.
If it's not Cousins, if Cousins isn't able to stay on the floor because of his lack of mobility, I think it's going to be Kyle Kuzma who's going to have to really, really step up his game. That means shooting better. That means hitting at least that 37% from the three that he shot as a rookie. That means playing better on defense. That means making better decisions on his rotations and things like that. But look, I mean, hey, his skill set is pretty impressive. So those are all guys that I think could be in that category of who will be the X factor. And then, I mean, we're going to have to see how the season plays out to really know for sure what happens.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned Kyle Kuzma too, because this is going to be a new year for him where he's not playing with the young core. There is no young core, so we're going to see him really grow up this season because he is. It's no longer one of those where like, oh, he's a younger player. He's evolving. We've seen him evolve, and we see what potential he can play with. He's going to be playing with guys a lot older than him, a lot closer to the potential that we are expecting him to play in. So it's a very mature Kyle Kuzma that I'm really excited to see, and that we're all going to be seeing in this coming season.
I like that Danny Green on his podcast, The Green Room, mentioned that Kyle Kuzma is the guy that's actually been organizing things for the team, taking on a leadership role. He's the guy that got the big group text going with all of them. Wasn't the veterans, it wasn't Rondo, it was Kyle Kuzma, who's 24, is the guy taking on that leadership role and responsibility with the team. I think that's impressive, and that's a sign. It goes to show you part of why the Lakers made Kyle Kuzma the sole survivor. He's the guy that they opted not to trade to the New Orleans Pelicans in the AD deal. The Lakers have a lot of confidence in him, and it's going to be on him this season to really prove them right.
Yeah, and he knows what responsibility is at stake with, everything that is going to be going into the 2019-2020 season. So I think he's mature enough to handle it at this point, and Lakers did a great job in keeping him.
Yeah, for sure. I like that they kept him. Would have liked to have seen them keep maybe like a Josh Hart or somebody as well, but didn't work out that way. Can't complain too much when you've got Anthony Davis on your roster. All right, why don't we wrap up there? Denise, thank you so much for joining me. I know we went way over time, but appreciate you joining me and breaking through all these questions.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me, Trevor. I had a good time, man.
Guys, so make sure you go follow Denise on Twitter and Instagram at Denise. Don't forget to support our sponsor, betonline.ag. Use that promo code CLNS50. And I should have shouted them out at the beginning. Don't forget to grab some Uptime energy drinks. Find them at 7-Eleven, GNC, and Amazon.com. If you wouldn't mind, guys, head over to Apple Podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe to this show. That helps us out. I love the ratings that we've been getting in lately and the reviews. I go through, I read them all. So if you want to shoot a message to me, that's a great way to do it. Toss in a review there. You have any comments about the show or anything that you want us to address, toss it in there, and I'll make sure we talk about it here on the show. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking more Lakers basketball. Thanks, everybody, who joined us. Thanks for those of you who joined us on the live stream over here on Sportscaster. And don't forget to head over to LakersNation.com for all your breaking Lakers news. Until next time, see ya.